All right, guys. Well, hey, happy Friday. Happy Freedom Friday here. It is, let's see, 9:03. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Just wanted to introduce myself real quick. Pat Hayes with eXp Realty, and welcome to the call, guys. We have an amazing special guest, so be prepared. Take some notes, get pen and paper, and we're going to have some fun today. But I also wanted to introduce my wingman. I've got two guys I want to introduce, Ian Flanagan and also Joseph Limo. Joseph's the one that kind of put this call together, and I'll let him talk here in just a second, though. But I wanted to introduce my good friend, my wingman, Ian Flanagan. Ian and I have been doing this mastermind, gosh, for 4 or 5 years or so, and we've been having fun. We do this mastermind to kind of keep everybody together, share wins, share success stories. I see a lot of new faces on here. That means we're growing. And we're having fun, selling a lot of real estate, attracting a lot of agents. And we always like to invite a special guest on here that's crushing it with agent attraction or crushing it with selling real estate, or somebody like a coach that can help us take our businesses to the next level. And so Joseph actually invited his coach onto the call here, which we'll introduce here in just a little bit, though. But I want Ian to come introduce himself real quick and share little wins and success stories about his success at eXp. I see a lot of agents that have been running with us hard for 4 or 5 years, and I see a lot of new agents as well too. And so this is for everybody, right? This is not just for our group. This is open for everybody, and we want to give and serve and give back and help everybody win. So Ian, take it away.
Well, thanks, Pat. Yeah, it's been over 7 years at eXp Realty. So I was a part of that first group that saw the vision, and it's been such a rocket ship ride, and everything that's happened in the markets with just real estate in general, and then brokerages and all that. It's just kind of silly to see all the shenanigans out there, but here we are, several years later with the biggest independent real estate company in the world and growing lights out. So I got to say, though, it's over the last several years I've learned a lot, and I continue to learn more and more and more just because I'm surrounded by amazing entrepreneurs every week. So been sharpening the sword for quite some time. And my story is just like most people's, right? You come into eXp, you're selling real estate, you got a lot of other things going on, and then you're really not focused on the agent attraction side, which is essentially building a brokerage within the brokerage. So I had to kind of get a jump start after a couple of years of seeing some success fly. So my first year, I brought in about 4 people, had 6 total in my organization. And the second year, it grew up to about 25 to 40. Then I thought, okay, I guess I need to pay attention to this because these guys are already starting to make a lot of money. And about 2.5 years into this, Rob Flick, one of our fearless leaders, started making over 100,000 a month. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is real. It's happening. So I just put my head down. I've been grinding for years. And here we are, coming up on the middle of the selling season of 2023. I have over 2,500 agents. I can't tell you how many great referral partnerships I've made at eXp.
Yes.
I got 2 in escrow that were referrals from other eXp agents. So being intentional about just connecting and collaborating, you can pick up some referral business. But yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, it's definitely one of those legacy plays. Every 30 days, eXp makes a cash distribution to thousands of agents, and they distribute millions of dollars every single month. So I like to say the revenue share is an open checkbook. So as big as you want to build it, or if you just want to get it to a couple $1,000 a month to cover your mortgage, you can do that too. So
Amen.
It's been a big game changer. My wife will inherit this, and my daughter will inherit it. So I'm proud to say I'm eXp for life, baby.
Love it, baby. Love it. Well, hey, man, thanks for your friendship. Thanks for your hard work. And man, thanks for being open-minded whenever I gave you that phone call almost 7 years ago. I can't believe it's
already been 7 years.
Time flies whenever you're having fun.
Yeah.
Well, guys, yeah. And I know we're all having fun, right? And guys, we always like to share wins, share success stories, but I'm going to go ahead and pass that today because we have an amazing special guest, and I want to give him as much time as possible. I'm going to go ahead and pass the call over to Joseph Limo. Joseph is one of my good friends, wingman. He's crushing it at eXp over there in California. We met, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and he is just a true leader, good friend, and he is one of the most humble guys that I know. Has his head down, always working, always grinding, always serving, always helping his agents trying to get their business to the next level. And he reached out to Ian and I a few weeks ago and says, hey, I want to invite one of my coaches onto the call to give back. And so, guys, here we are. Take notes, have fun, enjoy this call. This call is being recorded as well. And we'll definitely have the recording whenever Ian gets it back over to me, and I'll definitely distribute it out to you guys, though. But Joseph, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, well, thank you, Pat. It's an honor always to be with you guys, right? Like Ian, Pat, you guys are inspirations to me. Pat, you're a massive leader, man, just in my life, especially here at eXp Realty. So thank you for everything. But yeah, I'm Joseph Lima. I'm here in Southern California. I've been at eXp Realty almost 6 years now, and it's wild to say that. And you know, I think I was kind of the 2.0, right? I think Ian and Pat were like some of the, you know, freshest frontiers out here at eXp, and I was kind of round two a little bit, still pretty early on. But, you know, it's been an extremely wild ride. And I'm just so glad, and I want to share this with everyone super quickly. I'm so glad that Pat and Ian took the responsibility of growing, because if they wouldn't have grown, we wouldn't have seen what's possible. And so I've started to take that on in my world of like, I need to grow, because if I'm not growing, then the people in my organization are not seeing what's possible and not seeing that it can be done and watch us do it. So, you know, this thing will continue to regenerate, but we need to continue to grow so that others can do the same, you know. So let's not ever be our own ceiling to our organization. One of the ways that I've found massive success in just getting out of my own way is with one of my coaches. And I was lucky enough to get him on here, Anthony Chavez. Anthony's an incredible guy. You're going to learn a lot about him today, just in what he does. But, you know, what I really appreciate about Anthony is a couple of things. Number one, as a coach, you know, there's so many coaches that'll find you where you're at and where you want to go. And that's great. That's, you know, what a lot of us are looking for. What I found for what was holding me back wasn't necessarily where I'm at and where I'm trying to go, but things that were impacting me in the past that I just didn't even know I was still holding on to. So Anthony's been instrumental in helping me identify and really kind of shore up some of those things that kind of release the weight so we can start moving forward. And then this guy is just, he embodies what he says. And I'm sure today he'll share with you, there were some things that were a challenge for him in the recent past. And then to hear the coaching that I've been through with him, and then to watch him implement it for himself without someone there to guide him, is powerful. So it's an honor. Anthony, thank you for being on here today. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from this guy. And like Pat said, take tons of notes. But my coach that I submit my ego to, Mr. Anthony Chavez, thanks for being on, man.
Joseph Limo, my absolute pleasure. Pat, thanks for the fist bump. Actually, before we start, I love that this is just a big leadership love fest. As a group of successful humans, it's not often that we get to do that. And so it's just a testament. I believe in leadership so much, and it's a testament to these three men and how they've shown up and dedicated their lives to other people growing and expanding. Like, that's it. It just doesn't happen often. So like, take it to heart. It's awesome to hear so much gratitude and so much giving in a world full of takers. Like Pat said, this is a give back, and that's my intention for getting on. My prayer for the world is to see everybody live a life that is fulfilled, that they loved, that they're challenged by, and that when they get to the end of it, they look back and they're like, I can punch my ticket because it's complete, baby. I'm good and good. And there's a weird part of me, right? I'm 44 years old, that feels like if I got that call today, I feel complete. And that in no way means I'm done, because in a lot of ways, just getting started. So my name is Anthony. I've been working as a personal development coach and professional speaker since 2008. My mission since then has been to wake people up to what's possible for themselves and for them and for their lives, period, full stop. And I had the honor of being with this group early last year. I think it was in January or so. And I spoke a lot about commitment and how when you're committed, you are undeniable and you are underailable. Like a Mack truck could not take you out of your lane when you're steeped in commitment. And Joe hinted at it a little bit. In that time, my whole world changed. I called y'all from Southern California, Laguna Beach area, and just happy in my world, coaching, speaking, and doing my thing. And then I had this really incredible opportunity fall into my lap. And my wife and I practiced what we preached. We were asked to develop a wellness concept that doesn't really exist in the world yet. And so we went from a Zoom to notes on a napkin to moving our family, pausing one business, moving our family to Colorado, to Denver. So now I'm in Denver, and opening a business and having it fully functional and operational and profitable in less than 6 months, a brick and mortar. And y'all know that that's pretty unheard of, but we took this idea of longevity and fitness and married it together. So there's, Angela, are you in Denver? I'm gonna find you. There, cold plunge, infrared saunas, yoga, high intensity interval training. It even had coffee and beer. Like it was, or it is, this really cool concept. So we went all in, did that, took our licks, had some big losses, had some really big wins. And then a couple of months ago, decided to be complete with that, shipped it off to the next investor. And her and I are here on our next adventure. And so there was some big highs and big lows in that. And then another couple of things that happened during that time was that I broke my wrist. I'm left-handed. I couldn't yoga. I couldn't ride my bike. I couldn't lift weights. So I'm like half functioning human. By the way, I've got 3 little ones at home, a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. We did all of this with that going on. And so there was some collateral damage that I noticed started to take place. And as we shifted our life and said, okay, that project is complete and it's left the dock, back to me, what am I going to do now? I decided to do, and Pat put it out in the intro, a challenge called the 4x4x48. And if you're not familiar with that, it's running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight. So I was up at 2 a.m., 6 a.m., 10, coaching clients, taking the kids to school, bringing them back, being a husband, putting my shoes on, getting back out there. And let me tell y'all something, running 48 miles in 2 days was a beatdown. It was hard. But the reason I did it was to remember what I had underneath the tank and to put all of this that I say into practice. I am a huge believer in being a practitioner over a theorist. There are too many talking heads in this world who don't back up what they say and or did something incredible 48 years ago. Like, this is not about the high school glory days. He is laughing, right? This is not about being Al Bundy. And so it was all of that combined. So here's the content and the curriculum for Dave. That was the intro. And it was born out of this 4x4x48 challenge. I wanted to look at my life and say, okay, what are the things that I do consciously, inherently, and subconsciously when I'm about to take on a huge challenge like I did a year ago and birth that business? What do I want to do? What do I do when I'm going to take on a huge physical challenge? And so I broke it down into a couple of steps. Get your pens, pencils, iPads, Remarkable 2 tablets ready, whatever you take notes on, because this is it. Some of this will be familiar and some of this will not be. And your job is to get radically honest with yourself with all of it. No fluff, no fake. Number 1 is to have clarity of vision that is steeped in your why. So this is foundational 101 stuff. You gotta know why you are doing the things you are doing. Too many people are simply being lived. What I mean by that is they are being taken by the current of life rather than intentionally taking charge. So understand your why. Why are you in this business? Why are you with this company? Why are you with the leadership team that you're with? Why are you with your significant other? All of it. Be so clear on your why that this is the work behind commitment from our call a year plus ago, is that you're unmovable there. Okay, so number 1, why? And again, this is stuff you all should be doing on a regular basis. The second part, though, is to have clarity of vision. What I mean by that is to know who's involved, what it's going to take, what impact it's going to have on you, your life, your family, your community, how you're going to use the fruits of that labor to uplift the planet, know what it's going to be like during the dark times. So put a little star on this one. A lot of people talk about visualization, and that's awesome. What I noticed that I did in prepping for this terrible run was that I went to a place called dark visualization. And I didn't just think about the times when it felt good and everybody's like, oh my God, you're amazing. That's so cool. And like the sun is shining. I went to the 2 a.m. run. What is it going to feel like when it's, and again, I'm a California boy, Southern California boy. Now I'm in Denver. There's snow on the ground. Like, this place is wild. It was 80 one day and then it was 26 the next. Wasn't physically prepared for that. But I went there, visualization, dark visualization. I'm like, okay, how's it going to feel? What am I going to wear? When is it going to hurt the most? And I allowed myself to dig in there. So where this translates to your business is, what are you avoiding? What objections, what conversations, what uncomfortable places are you just not thinking about? Yes, visualize the win. Yes, visualize the impact and feel it emotionally, but then prep yourself for the unpreppable, I guess is the best way to put it. What is it going to, how are you going to react? Who are you going to be? Who are you going to reach out to when it's hard, when you get what I call kicked in the mouth? And over the last couple of years, it's all happened. And then I think also when I was on in January last time, like everybody was winning. Life was good. And then it went up from there. It was like rates are like 0.5%. Like it was just wild, right? When we moved out here to Denver, people were offering $120,000, $150,000 cash over asking. And we're like, okay, cool. And then is that the scenario now? No. The sky is falling for some people. So my point in dark visualization is, who are you going to be? What are you going to do? Get yourself steeped in that clarity as well, so that you are always prepared. And then there's a side note. Even when you do that, life is still going to kick you in the mouth. So I had 3 runs to go. My body hurt. Everything hurt. I would rather, I didn't mention this earlier, I have done ultra endurance events. I've considered myself an ultra endurance athlete for a long time, but never a start stop like this. Like I ran across Catalina Island. It was a big race. It's 42 miles. I was 10 years older than everybody in the race and I won that puppy, but there was no stopping. This whole start, stop, in, out, go to bed, get up, take a shower, do it again over 2 days. My body was like, bro, what are you doing? We're either going to do this or not. Like I'm an old diesel. So it was hard. So back to the race, 2 a.m. I've got 3 runs to go. I put my shoes on, I open the door, and lo and behold, it's actually snowing. And I'm like, I sat there and stared at my shoes for like 15 minutes. I was done. I didn't prepare for that. I prepared for the cold. I prepared for everything else. So even when you do the dark visualization, we still can't prepare for everything. But what I did was went back to my why and the clarity of vision and what this was going to give me. And for me, it was a remembering of what I'm capable of who I am, and of demonstrating what's possible to myself, my kids, and to you, to the world. So I'm out there, and just think about this. It was 22 degrees. It is snowing. And I'm running across, and I'm just running in the middle of the street, playing Rocky in my ears, yelling, pumping my fist, being a psychopath. But without any dark visualization, that would have been, I think that might have been the deal breaker. So step 1, clear vision, steeped in your purpose and your why. Visualize not only the wins, but visualize when it's going to get hard so that you're not completely derailed. And we're seeing this with a lot of our colleagues and people who've joined our businesses over the last year. Like they don't know what to do. Part of my heart breaks for those new agents who joined during that time when it was just like, Here's all the money in the world. And now they don't know what to do. So step one, I'm going to move on to step two. And this one's hard and this one's fun, but this is also part of the prep. It's to audit your life with vigor and with radical honesty. This was back to me being, I'm an ultra endurance athlete. But then when I started looking at my life, I was like, you know what? I haven't done anything since 2018. I've done runs, I work out, I ride my bike, but nothing of that I would consider endurance. And it hit me. It's like, ooh, I'm not walking the walk. I'm decertified. I haven't been in the game. So I decided to recertify as an ultra endurance athlete, or I won't say it on this call, but recertify as a bad MF. That was what I wrote on my paper. But it came from this practice of auditing my life. So there's who we think we are, this romantic version of us. And then there's who we are actually being. So the practice here is this. For a week or two, take note. How do you spend your time, your minutes, your hours, your days? What are you actually doing with this life of yours? And then compare that to your goals, to your visions, to your commitments, to who you want to be. A lot of us walk around thinking that we're extraordinary parents. And then when we actually audit our time, we're like, I was on the phone for 9 hours and 6 of those, my kids are just sitting next to me. So when I say vigorously and honestly, do it, but don't do it from a place of judgment. It's not about guilt or shame. It's just about clarity. And then you can do the same thing with the people in your life. So this is an advanced exercise that I would challenge all of you to do it. But you sit down and be like, okay, what are my strengths? What do I bring to the table? What are my weaknesses? Once you have those down, call a family member. Maybe it's a significant other. Call somebody on this crew, a leadership person who knows you well. Maybe a friend. Start with 3 people. And then you're just going to ask them, hey, Joseph, we'll just role play a little bit. I've been thinking about my life. My coach told me to audit my life. And I just wanted to know where I show up for you. Like, what are my strengths? Where am I really an amazing partner, friend, cousin, whatever? Let them speak. Take notes. Your job, don't say anything. Just take it in. Don't argue. Don't just like, cool. And then, Joseph, thank you. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable, maybe, but like in all honesty, because again, it's an exercise I'm doing, so I'm not going to take it personal. Where do I miss the mark? Where can I be a better X, Y, and Z? Where can I show up more for you? Where do you see me not living up to my potential? Like there's lots of ways you can say it, but you're simply going to ask and make sure they tell you the truth. Woo, if you've ever wanted to audit your life and know who you are, this is it. How do you spend your time? And then ask the people who spend the most time with you. I'm getting chills right now because you're going to have 2 awesome results. Result number 1 is you will know who you are because your answers will align with your friends or families or colleagues' answers. And you're like, great, I know where I shine and I know what I need to work on. The harder part is if you're like, writing down my list and I'm like, I'm such an extraordinary listener. Like, I'm just so great at listening to my friends and family. And I talked to Pat. Pat's like, you never listen to me. I tell you, like, you don't hear me. Then this romantic version of who you are blows up. But again, it's not about judgment. It's just about radical honesty. Like, cool, now I have the truth. And I think this auditing is so important because when we don't do this, we cause ourselves suffering unintentionally. If I think I'm doing and being the right person for what's in my heart, and I'm not going to hit my goals. I'm not going to have results. My relationships are going to be trash. I'm not going to feel good in my body. Like, it's just going to be this disconnect. But if I don't even see it, I'll never be able to make the adjustments. So if you don't do anything other than like audit your life with some vigor and the people around you, do that. It will give you so much data so that you can move the line of your heart forward, or move the line of your life forward. Questions or thoughts on that as I pause on auditing your life? Get another snack, little man. This is real life. Any thoughts or questions or
I have a thought.
comments? Yeah, let me hear it.
I'm Gary Toll in Dallas, and
Hey, Gary.
I'm new to EXP, but not new to real estate. And what you're saying aligns with what I think everyone needs to do. And I could kick my own butt right now because it just reminded me of all the things. I mean, all of the things, I feel dirty, it's all the things that I'm carrying around, this excess baggage, and I'm not getting done the things that will, I'm being honest, will help me the most. And so consequently, I mean, I'm like, I feel it in my chest. It's like, it's like, I hope I don't have a heart attack,
Okay. Don't have a heart attack.
No,
And
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Gary,
But no, I appreciate that so much.
right on, brother. I would say big kudos to you, because a lot of people don't have the courage to do that. They'd rather have the blinders on and then just complain about why they're not living the life of their dreams. And so kudos to you for that. And then like really hearing me on this part, it's not about guilt or shame or anything. Just use it as a gift. Like, oh, that was a nice little wake up call. It's like this. Best analogy. Does it ever feel good for any of you when your foot or your leg falls asleep? You know, that tingling sensation, and it kind of sucks for a while? This is just you. Your life was asleep and now you're waking up and it's all kind of tingly, but then you have full use of it after. So nice job, buddy. Okay, good job, little man. Go watch your movie. All right, Gary, thank you. So we're going to move on to the third one, and I kind of hit on it a little bit, and it was this commitment to recertifying as a whatever fill in the blank is. Too many of us live on our past wins, our past successes, or we just live in theory. So make a commitment to do the things that give you a foundation or a foothold to stand on. For me, it was this 4x4x48. For some of you, it may be doing the things that you did day one. So I was texting Joseph earlier. Joe, will you unmute a little bit? Because I wanted to ask you something. I asked him about door knocking and canvassing, some of the stuff that I know a lot of us avoid, especially years and years later. And this man has been, how long have you been in this industry? 15?
18 years.
That's a long time. 18 years.
Mhm.
And you told me last week that you were canvassing your own neighborhood.
Yes.
Why?
Well,
Why?
I think there's really three reasons. The first one is simply that was one of the three things that I did to grow my business to start. In everyone's kind of lack of volume, I'm looking for some new inventory, right? And then finally, I'm working through some new strategies I want to teach my team. And, I don't want to come from a place of teaching theory. I want to come from a place of teaching what it looks like right now. And with like the invention of Ring doorbells, I know that whole door knocking scenario is night and day different. I got to learn how to communicate through a little camera.
Okay. Thank you. I love what he shared. And what I'm taking away from that is that he is a practitioner and he's always in the game. Like even that ring, I don't want to derail us, but like we know how to get and how to speak and how to show up and how to be charismatic on a camera. We've been forced to do it for the last however many years. I think that's a game changer in a good way. Hey, y'all, this is Joseph Limo, eXp Realty. I know that you're watching me through the Ring camera. How are you? Like, you could just have so much fun with it. Point is, I don't want to get down too specific or too much in the weeds, is that he is a practitioner. He is doing the work. And he said it, and this was not a setup. He didn't know I was going to ask him this. that he's doing the things that he started in his business 18 years ago. So the recertification can be doing things in a new way, doing things that you haven't done in a long time. It can also be, like in my case, a physical event. And if you're new and you're like, I just started, like I'm just getting my first certification in this, then be committed to being a practitioner. Period. End of story. Here's why. When you practice, practice leads to clarity because you work the bugs out. Clarity leads to confidence, and then confidence breeds success. Just get off the couch and get into the game. That's it. And if some of you are like, ooh, I don't want to mess it up, we'll get there. All right. Next point. This one's fun. Underneath that idea of being committed to recertifying, it's being committed to honing your craft. So this also might ping a few of you. How many of you are practicing daily your recruiting/enrollment conversations? How many of you are practicing all of your presentations? This is not about winging it. This is not about relying on talent. I'm talking about old school practice. How many of you are open to getting feedback, willing to get feedback on every single word you say, the cadence, the pitch, the tone, the pause, the empathic inquiry, the questions you're asking your potential clients and or team members? You're in a room, a Zoom room, full of producers, full of people who have done it, full of people who have different lives, different backgrounds, and it would be a travesty to not get feedback from them. Abraham Lincoln once said, if I had to chop down the cherry tree, if I had 4 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 3 hours sharpening the axe. For us, sharpening the axe is practicing. And this is true from all areas of your life. I have taught yoga internationally. I've presented on some of the biggest festivals in the world. I think my record, East Forest, he's like this incredible artist. I had 1,000 people at one class. We took over an entire museum. Anyway, I've been doing it for a long time, close to 8,000 classes taught. I helped to lead to the world's 2 largest yoga companies, from 12 studios to 250. I wrote their teacher training programs about a decade ago. And then we moved here to Denver. I'm like, yeah, I'll teach yoga. Like, I love it. Walk into the studio, do the audition, ask for feedback. You know, I'm 44. The person who's given me the job is 26. She just graduated from her teacher training less than 6 months ago from the program that I wrote about a decade ago. Yeah, like she doesn't know. And so there's a part of me that's like giggling, like, but then I'm also like, all right, what worked? What didn't? Like, give me feedback. And she laid it on me, and I'm like, yes, this is like, go for it. But the point is to be okay and honest with yourself, to just get it, right? So this is where it gets to some of the top dogs. Like, all right, open it up. Give me the feedback. How'd that presentation go? What'd you feel? If you're not doing that, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And this is for your life as well, not just in your businesses. Ask your significant others, ask your partners, ask your family members to give you insight on you so that you know yourself more deeply so that you can continue to grow. And then again, to be redundant on purpose. When you know yourself, when you're practicing, when you're getting feedback, when you're learning what works and what doesn't, it just all serves you so that when you are in the game actually, and you're having that enrollment conversation, you're making your presentation, you're undeniable, and people can't help but say, yeah, I need to be on this team. This is it for me. Or you're my person, you're my guy, you're my gal. Questions or thoughts on the commitment to getting feedback and to growing? Let's hear them. Maybe a better question is, how many of you are in the current practice of it, or how many of you are going to get committed to doing it? I might have struck a nerve. There's one person. All right. Next is a concept, and it's a biggie, but I think this is what gets in our way a lot of times. And it's to be willing to lose. You don't hear that in a lot of success type meetings. Be willing to lose. Losing, friends, is radically different from failure. Pat or Ian, I want to hear from either one of you on this. What do you think the difference between losing and failure is in like your own words? Because it's a wordplay, it's semantics, but I want to hear what y'all think about that.
For me, it's part of the process. It's that gap, right? I mean, I say this on stage when I get in front of groups of people is, failing forward and never giving up. Some people can navigate through the failures better than others. And I know Pat is one of those guys that failure is just not an option. And that's something that I've learned from him with building this business over the years. And just watching him pour into so many people and be so willing to give his time, effort, energy, finance, all that. But for me, growing up the way I did, coming out of the hood on food stamps and, grinding my way out of poverty, it's just a part of the process, right? I've lived a life of negativity with negative results, my early days with, getting in trouble and, doing bad things, just negative energy, negative thoughts, negative actions have repercussions. And then in my 30s, the positivity, the better choices, and then positive things happen. So I've seen cycles of both. And a part of that I've learned from both of those cycles. And now I'm 48, scratching on 49 and 50. And I want to pour into as many people as possible, because I've felt that shift in my life of giving and realizing that failure is a part of the process. I don't know everything. I'm an open book. I learn something new every day. I'm seeking for other people, like the question you just asked about having your, colleagues, close friends kind of audit you and getting feedback. And that's something, because I do a weekly call with one of my running buddy business partners. And at the end of the call, I say, hey, what can I do better? Right. Because I'm trying to uncover blind spots, because I'm at least aware enough of, we all have blind spots in our lives and our businesses. So that's something that I'm very open to. And I know a lot of people on this call very personally, and we have open conversations about all kinds of things like this. So
Yeah,
bro, that's awesome. Like, I love that. Hey, thank you. I love all of that. And specifically that you brought up blind spots. There's so much ego in life and pride. And like that serves a purpose at times. But then when you're really committed to serving other people, when you know what you're about, it just doesn't matter. Like, Michael Jordan had an ego. He has an ego. He's probably the most egotistical person on the planet. And he had Tim Grover with him from almost day one. Like he always had somebody calling him out. And that's essentially what this is. It's like, what are the blind spots? How can I grow? But that's awesome. It's about your commitment to development and growth. Thank you. Pat.
Yeah, and Ian, great job there. I mean, you hit it on the head right there. I think failure, makes us all stronger. In business, I've been successful and I've failed. I've made a lot of money and I've lost a lot of money on investments, and so it's the part of the process. Not every single choice that you make is going to be a win. And I'm glad I've had some losses, because it's made me who I am, and it's made me where I am. Because I've gotten knocked down, man. I've gotten knocked down. I've lost a lot of money, and you know what? I got right back up, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this, I'm not going to let this stop me. And it's been a fun 7 years with EXP. Before that, I had a few businesses that failed, and I lost some money. But you know what? That's made me who I am. That's made me stronger, and I'm glad I went through that, because if I wouldn't, I don't be this successful, because I thought, every single opportunity, every single business decision that I made was a success. And so I'm glad I've had some failures to make me who I am. I think failures are great. I really do.
Brother, thank you. This is a big, big point. That's why I wanted to ask both of you, because so many of us are so afraid, A, to lose, and then B, to lose what we have.
Yeah.
And it's like crippling. We won't make the call. We won't take the action. We won't do the things, take the risk. There you go, baby. Take that popcorn. We won't do the risk, take the risk, because we're so afraid of the L. And so for you, like, people look up to you. You are crushing it. Like, I get who you are here in this space. And then for you to be like, I've failed at multiple businesses, I've lost a ton of money. It's empowering and it's inspiring. And if we can get over this fear of loss, it frees us up completely. But I'm going to be honest, it's hard, especially after you've won. So, and again, this is like real talk here. I've done these crazy races. I built a name partly off of my crazy physical exploits. And then I, remember I hadn't done anything in a long time, broken wrist. It was like just a terrible physical year for me. And normally when I do these ultra endurance events, I raise money for some charity. I make a big deal about it, get press involved, do a lot of PR. I didn't tell a soul, not a soul. I told like 5 people I was going to do this 4x4x48 because I was afraid. And I didn't want to admit it to myself. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. Everything hurts. I haven't trained, but there's something in my soul saying I've got to go. So I was on the right path, but I didn't share it. I didn't raise any money. As a matter of fact, I didn't publicly post it until I was 24 hours in, because at that point I'm like, all right, come hell or high water, I'm going to finish this thing. I'm halfway through. But for the first 24 miles, 24 hours, I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this done. But what I did do is I told a couple of my clients, and they were holding me accountable. And then I started to tell some family members. But I was afraid. I was afraid of losing. I was afraid of publicly failing. I was afraid. And what happened was, and again, all of this, today's talk came out of like, okay, what happens as I get ready for these big life events? Is that I was honest that I was willing to lose. That's it. I did the mental work. Like, okay, if I do quit, if I do lose, there's going to be a lesson. What can I share? How can this help elevate the planet and the world? And I think it's so, so important for right now with where we are in today's market and business. Be willing to lose, be unwilling to fail. Failure means quit, stop, never do it again, go the other way. You walk away from it. This is not walking away from it. Even if the business changes, your vision doesn't. For your family, your why doesn't change, but maybe the vehicle changes. That's fine. That's not a loss. Failure is completely giving up and resigning to a life that is not yours. And that is the greatest mistake I think we can make. Like, we should talk about this, Pat, on another day, on another call, to go through the businesses and the wins, the losses, and how it kept changing. But I bet you there was something inside your heart that was the driver and the fuel and the force for all of it. It wasn't the thing. Like, I often tell people when I'm talking to them about EXP that the thing is the transaction of real estate, but really it's a company where you learn how to develop yourself, grow, and create generational wealth unlike any other. And we just so happen to do it with real estate. But it's not the real estate, if that makes sense. It's something so much better. It's this gift. Okay, be willing to lose, be willing to get dirt on your face, be willing to show up on social and be like, didn't work, and I'm going to begin again. And I'm going to begin again, and I'm going to begin again. Last note, we've got 11 minutes left, is to get honest on this idea of pain and suffering. We're going to finish on this high inspirational note. Honest on pain and suffering. It's going to hurt no matter what. And a buddy of mine framed it really well the other day. He said, choose your suffer, or he said, choose your suck. But I'm like, choose your suffer. Is it going to be active or passive? Active suffering is the getting uncomfortable in your business, making the call, getting the feedback, auditing your life, doing the practice, just taking L after L after L, because that, as Pat and Ian said, always moves us forward. The passive suffering, on the other hand, is the waiting, it's the analysis paralysis, it's the never taking action, it's the watching your life drain out from you and you live in anxiety and self-doubt and like just, ugh. I think, and I believe that when we're chasing extraordinary things in our life, it's just going to be hard either way. So rather than have it happen to you and that passive suffer, get active about it. It's so like when we move our bodies. I don't care how long you've been running or lifting weights or doing anything. It never really feels good. Like, it always hurts, but you do it. And the passive suffering of that would be a body that is not capable of doing the things you want it to do. So while the crux of this was this run, and this is not about physical bodies, I do want to touch on that a little bit. It just popped up in my brain, like, take care of your bodies, because if this thing that we live in doesn't have the energy or the capacity to go out and to make your dreams come true, it's going to be really hard. There are people out there who can't and don't have use of their bodies, who are sick, who have all the money in the world, all the resources in the world, but they just don't have the energy to do the things they want to do. And so they go hand in hand, right? We can have all the money and all the success in the world. If you're stuck in the bed with tubes all coming through your body, like, that's not the game either. Don Howard Lawler once said, in order to be of service, you must be fit for service. And that blew me away. So no, you don't have to do the crazy stuff that I do, but get committed to taking care of your body, because that gives you the fuel and the energy to show up and to take the L's and to take the wins and to celebrate with your friends and family. And like, I just found out I'm gonna be a grandpa. I'm gonna be a 45-year-old grandfather, which is kind of rad and crazy, because I feel like
that's amazing.
19.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's still wrapping my mind around it, but I'm like, all right, awesome. I want to take that little girl on the hikes. I want to do crazy stuff with her. I'm going to be like 70 by the time she's going to be getting after it. I want this thing to be ready for it. Same with my little man, who I don't think he made it on camera, who's wandering around. I want to do an Ironman with him. I want to do an Ironman in every decade of my life. Like, how cool would that be? But you know what that takes? A commitment to active suffering, to take the L's, to have clarity of vision. It's all the same game, friends. It's all the same game. So choose the way you're going to suffer, and then know that the payoff for that is going to be exponential. It really is, rather than the passive version. I'll finish with this, and then I want to use the last few minutes for like questions or thoughts. There's this book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and a palliative care nurse interviewed people in their last days. And the number one regret of people on their deathbed was that they wished they would have lived a life that was authentic to them, that was inspired. They wish they would have spent less time at the office doing things they didn't love. And for me, that hit home. I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend my life living big, losing big, winning big, loving hard, getting my heart broke, leaving it all out on the field, so that when I get to the end of this, I just know like it's good. And the cool thing about living that way is that, and you all get this, the results are just massive. Like we start to win big. I want to open it up for the last 6. Oh, we have no, we do have 6 minutes. 6 minutes, a question, a thought, and I'm going to let you all know how we can continue this conversation. And thank you for the grandpa. Congratulations.
What'd you guys think? You got any questions for Anthony? Man, that was powerful. Wow.
That living big thing is so very powerful and so incredibly true. I mean, it's a lesson that a lot of times we don't start to learn until we're older. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
Choose your suffering, man. When you said that, that really like kicked me in the stomach. Because that's the thing I think about. You know, I'm having my back's tight. I like to ride my bike. I like to lift and all these things. It's like, oh, and then I got to go, you know, meet clients and phone calls and my child.
Yeah.
I think clarity on that right there alone, because we're all going to experience it in one way or another.
Yeah.
Right. And then the narrative we play in our the narrative we play in our minds based off the way we feel and then our actions. So that was my biggest takeaway. I mean, that was amazing. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, brother. And thank you for your contributions. Like, I know they love to hear from you. Any other big thoughts or takeaways? Who's actually committed to asking the people in their life about how they show up and where they don't show up? Oh, that one still bothers me. Gary's going to do it. Rosemary, awesome. Chris, good. I'm a big fan of accountability. Coaching is a lot of, it's blind spots, it's accountability. So for those of you who are committed to this, Pat and Ian, maybe think about asking a few of them what they learned in the next couple of weeks. All right. What did your significant other say you are not showing up, and publicly share it?
Powerful.
It's time
Yeah,
for
I
a
see
checkup from the neck up.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I see Chris has got his hand raised. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just saying I was going to commit to
Oh, okay.
accountability. So
Love it.
Right on.
Any other questions for
Any other
Anthony?
big thoughts? Yeah, takeaways? Cool. Here's the deal. Get committed to these concepts that we talked about. Try them on. Keep living your life on purpose, friends. This is not our practice life. This is the one that we got. This is it. Your mom is going to come home after she's
Man,
done
it's
being
so
a nurse and
powerful.
saving life. This is not our practice life. This is the one. Show up for it. Don't have any regrets. And then reach out to me. If you want to work together, I'm available. We can set up a call. I've been coaching Joe for a bunch of years. I've coached a bunch of other agents in EXP. I get the business. I get you. So if you are looking to develop yourself and to grow, reach out. And this is what it's going to look like. There's a no excuse, committed to excellence, fulfillment, and a life that you're proud of. That's what I guarantee you'll get out of the other side. I also will promise you that it won't always be pretty and easy, because I'll hold up a mirror and help you get the things that you say you want in your life.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anthony. Hey,
Yes, man.
what online? I mean, what can we support you at? Is, you know, how can we pour back into you?
Oh, thank you, brother. So I lead personal development seminars, yoga retreats. I do, one-on-one coaching, and that's really Those are the ways in which I show up in the world. And so the way that you can pour back into me is to take this information, and if it resonates, share my profile, share my information with people who you think would benefit from working with me, either in a group or one-on-one. Let's just lift the vibration of the planet. So my website is Prolific Personal Development. And then on social, it's Anthony Chavez Yoga. Those are probably the two best ways to get in touch with me. Social media is at Anthony Chavez Yoga, and my website is Prolific Personal Development.
Amazing.
And I'm going to answer that one more way, Ian. Win.
Yeah.
The best way is just to win and to live a life that is aligned with your heart. That's it. That's really it. If you're like, dude, I heard this one dude talk one day and he was all fired up, and I took this one little nugget and it made a huge impact on me. That's it. Like, cool. I'll know. Go win.
Yep. Win big and win often. Awesome, guys. Pat, last words.
Yeah, man, powerful, man. Anthony, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, take action, man. I took a lot of notes, and man, this is being recorded. Man, wow, I'm blown away. Joseph, I know you're probably on the road taking the kiddos to school, but thanks for call up, man. This is powerful, man. And yeah, guys, reach out to Joseph. I'm going to connect with you, Joseph, or reach out to Anthony. I'm going to definitely connect with you as well. And guys, take action, man. This is why we do these calls to motivate everybody.
And guys, just know this, man. I mean, like with Pat, just like with Pat and Ian, like we don't bring, someone trial and error here. You guys get the best of the best, and Anthony hopefully was just proof of that. One last thing I'll also share. One other way to support Anthony is to encourage him to go get his license already, so we can rock and roll on this rev share thing together, baby. Let's go.
That's right. Come on, Anthony. Come to the family. Let's go.
Let's practice what I preach. How about this? I will get the ball rolling within the next 60 days. How's that sound? So you hold me accountable.
Here we go.
All right. Done and done.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Ian, thanks so much. Joseph, thanks so much. Anthony, again, thank you, man. Always a great time to hear from you. Guys, take massive action. And you guys have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next week.
Let's go. Peace.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Welcome, Anthony. All right, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.